Hey everybody, this is Shiv here, and today we're going to talk about the new CV rework for World of Warplanes. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a lot of new things coming on. First big thing, no longer going to have multiple squadrons in play at once. You get to control one big attack squadron. Second thing, you no longer have fighter squadrons. Instead, you have a fighter consumable. That's a little bit disheartening for several reasons, but okay, sure, why not? Third thing we need to talk about is that the new focus of all damage has introduced a new type of plane category. So you now have dive bombers, you have torpedo bombers, and you have rocket attack. Kind of interesting, very historically accurate, to be perfectly honest. All right, so a couple things you need to also know about this new system. AA is going to be changed somewhat. Focus fire is now going to be quadrant based, so it's either going to be focus left or focus right. No longer are you just going to right click on an incoming squadron and it's always going to have a focus on them. Nope, that's not going to be there either. Speaking of AA, anything that is considered quote unquote long range, they really didn't give us any numerical numbers there, what the caliber wise or distance wise, is now going to be a flagship. All right. Those are going to qualify as flak, which means it's something the planes can dodge. Yes, it's something they can dodge. Things like the Orlikon 20 millimeter and the 50 caliber are going to be a constant damage, right? So as long as you're within there, boom, you're going to take a constant damage. Oh, by the way, all planes have their own health pool. We don't know what that health pool is going to be. It could be the same as we've already seen listed in game. It could be less. It could be more. We'll have to wait and see. But the big thing here about the AA is the flak. You can avoid it. If you fly into the flak, congratulations, you just ate a shit ton of damage. If you avoid the flak, congratulations, you're going to have your planes to use more frequently. Oh, but wait a minute, you can no longer deplane CVs. That's the other big little thing here. No longer able to deplane CVs. This is kind of questionable, but it is what it is. All right, so no fighters. New way of actually engaging, one squadron at a time, new perspectives from how you're doing combat. This should be a really good thing. On the surface, I actually think this is an amazing thing. I love the new way you have to set up for your approaches, how the dive bombing is going to work, how the torpedo bombing is going to work, and even the rocket planes. I love it. I love how this looks. I think this is going to be amazing. But I would be remiss to say I do not have concerns. Now, as a DD player, I am happy to hear that no longer will I have to suffer through that lurking fighter over a cap point. All right? That thing has been toxic as all hell. No longer do I have to worry about a CV trying to spot me with a fighter in order for his battleships to basically blop the shit out of me, which they shouldn't be able to do anyway, but, you know, that's a topic for a different freaking video. But it is what it is. But instead, we're going to have a little bit more freedom for DDs. And I think that's a really good thing, because that's probably like the biggest counter I am seeing right now to the aircraft carriers. As we're seeing in these videos, I see a great potential for fast Russian DDs to exploit, punish, and beat the hell out of CVs in general. So all you Russian players, yeah, get those Kabavask and get those Grossovoys ready. You're going to have a freaking field day. All right? All right, that aside, I am also concerned about AA. And I'm also concerned about captain skills. Right now, a lot of people have some pretty solid builds that they've built over time. With this new CV rework, there are a lot of captain skills that are going to either go bye-bye or be readjusted. They're going to have to be, because to leave them exactly the same is going to cause a lot of problems, like manual AA, which is pretty much predominantly used only by British cruisers, may suddenly no longer be effective. Actually, most likely it's not going to be effective anymore. We'll have to wait and see, because most likely the weapon systems on, say, the Neptune and the Minotaur are no longer going to be as valuable as they were in that AA role. They're pretty much just going to be flak boats. Whether or not that's good, we'll have to wait and see. We really will. Now, a couple things that I do have a concern about, because the way you're now attacking or having multiple strikes within a squadron is actually creating a greater damage potential for a lot of the CVs now. When you talk about torpedo planes, all of a sudden, you're now seeing the potential, specifically with the Midway, of doing about 79,000 base damage, all right? I figured the average damage of the torpedoes that they're showing in this video is coming out to about 6.6k. 6.6 times 12 equals 79,000 and some change. Now, throw in the fact that it seems to be, at least in this demonstration video, the amount of flooding and fires is increasing also pretty high. You're going to see, well, a couple other things. That 79,000 I just quoted you, that's actually going to be a lot higher. And here's why. Because you're doing this in waves, all right? It's no longer going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to take a torpedo. I'll wait till the torpedo and the dive bombers are done, and then I'm going to pop my damage con, stop the flooding, stop the fires, and then I can start repairing and get out of there. No, no, no. Now, if you take a flood off that first wave of torpedoes, you're going to have to bear through that until they're done with you. And once they're done with you, then you can pop it. Well, guess what? That's another anywhere from 2 to 20,000 possible damage that you're going to suffer through there. So that 79,000 I just quoted you could be 81 to 100 plus thousand per squadron of torpedo bombers. All right? That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary if you really think about it. Now, when you move over to the dive bombers, it's not nearly as much. It's actually coming out to be around, give or take, 39,000 with the potential of another 10 to 15,000 on top of it. So basically pushing up to the 50,000 rank. Not too bad. And of course, when we get to the rocket planes, that's also going to be not nearly as impactful because, as we're going to see and have seen, those planes don't really do tremendously a lot of damage. Their main thing is to cause fires. Well, guys, if the CV player is smart, they'll know when to actually put this on a ship. If they see a ship that has just actually put out a fire and then they come in on it, they start doing this boom, 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 they're going to get some love out of it. And to be perfectly honest, if you're spreading those fires out to battleships, they're going to get a lot of love with it. All right, so you do one wave on a battleship, boom, you cause a fire. You move over to another battleship, boom, you cause a fire. Go back to that first ship, oh, he put out the fire, let me go put this on him again, So it definitely has some great potential there. So right there on the rocket planes, you're looking at possibly another 30,000 or more of damage that could be done. So when you start adding all this up, a full cycle is now starting to look very close to almost 200,000 damage. Now, this is from the examples we're seeing here in this video, all right, and some estimation and some averaging and a little bit of speculation, but it is looking like a full cycle of a Midway has the potential of doing 200,000 damage. That's a lot of damage. That is a hell of a lot of damage. Now, a couple things that are definitely going to have to be looked at when they're going over the balancing, which, by the way, because of all the balance that is going to be needed for this, before they could ever take this live, I do not expect this before December. And even then, I'm thinking probably January, okay? To be perfectly honest. But those guys at Wargaming, they love a challenge, so hopefully they'll get to it. First thing they're going to have to work on is how much damage will each piece of ordnance do? How much damage are torpedoes really going to do? Is this too high? All right. As we're seeing here, you're more likely to hit with, 2 out of 3 torpedoes. Okay. So when you start, factoring all that in, and if you're only going after BBs at first, you're going to realize you're going to rack up that damage pretty high to begin with. All right. So you're going to have to look at whether or not that damage potential is a little too much. When it comes to flooding, this is definitely something they're going to have to really look at. Most likely, I think the flood chance for the torpedoes on all CVs is going to probably get reduced. Leaving it in its current value with this system, I think would be extremely foolhardy. Mostly to the point where you're going to get at least 1,000 pages of anger on Reddit and in your own forums. I don't think that's good. All right, we already see a lot of salty complaint threads. You leave flooding in the way that you have described in this video, I think it's going to get a hellified lot worse. So yeah, definitely the damage and the whole flooding aspect are definitely going to have to be reworked, looked over, and balanced to some degree. Next thing they're definitely going to have to look at is going to be the plane's maneuverability as well as speed. Guys, if you actually watch this video and do some timetable math here, in terms of, well, they dropped the torpedoes at 1 kilometer out and it's hitting 4 seconds later, you're going to realize those torpedoes are actually hitting with a velocity of 900 kilometers an hour. I hate to tell you guys this, no torpedo dropped from an airplane in World War II went faster than 62 kilometers an hour. Here, though, they're going 900. But again, a lot of things get accelerated during the testing process to make the testing process not nearly as tedious as you might think it is. So these values are almost 100% guaranteed to change. By the way, if the torpedoes are moving at 900 kilometers an hour, these planes are moving at about Mach 1. Just saying, they're moving at about Mach 1. So that's something that they're definitely going to have to look at, how fast these planes are actually moving in-game, how fast their ordnance is actually moving in-game, and whether or not it creates a situation that is unavoidable for the player base. If the players can't have any sort of hope of possibly dodging a torpedo spread, it is not good. And considering they've been consistently making ships less and less maneuverable in this game, Haragumo, I think that's a really bad idea, Wargaming. I really do. Now, when it comes to AA, there's a lot of information we don't have. How are the captain skills going to be changed? Will defensive fire AA still have the whole, scattering effect? Will it actually do still more damage? So on and so on and so on. To be perfectly honest, this was something that I saw a few people ask in the stream, and it seemed like they were ignoring it. I don't want to, create any conspiracy theories here or there, but I think it's a topic that they all agreed before the stream that they didn't have an answer for. They don't know how exactly they're going to balance that yet. So just not broach the topic at all. So they didn't bother answering that. I completely understand why. It makes total sense, but it is a concern for a lot of players out there. So if defensive fire AA is going to change, it is definitely something that we're going to have to adjust to. If certain captain skills that are for AA or for CV planes in general are going to change, this is something else we're going to have to look at. Will certain flags also change in when it comes to AA and or plane defensive fire? How's that going to work? Considering you've taken away fighters, a lot of things like that. Not to mention the fact, what about scout planes? The things that pretty much we only launched up in order to add to our AA defense. How's that going to work? Is that going to change? Lots of questions we have there. So it's definitely something we're going to have to look at as well. And all these things combined together, all right, when you look at that, basically spells out that the balancing process is going to take some time. Personally, I love the new system, and I honestly believe that there is going to be a great amount of balance that can be done for this system. Now, with that said, there's also an elephant in the room that we have to talk about. AP bombs. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to keep AP bombs in this game. I'm sorry, Wargaming. You can't do it. Not with this system. It would be broken as hell. All right? Sure, maybe you could lower down the amount of damage an AP bomb does to a dramatic amount, but because of the fact that you can aim it pretty much spot on to a citadel consistently is going to turn that weapon system into an absolute freaking nightmare. No. Hell no. Don't do it. Please, for love of God, don't do it, Wargaming. Take that out. Now, the other thing that also has to be talked about is the rework for the Saipan, the Enterprise, and the Kaga. Seriously, these were all ships that had some really cool special things when it came to flight formations and or how they actually worked, as well as the Graf Zeppelin. I always forget about the Graf Zeppelin. I apologize, Zeppelin. All right, all 4 of those CVs are definitely going to have to get some special love and reworking, okay? The Saipan is going to be one of the biggest ones that's going to need an overhaul. You're taking away its fighters. That was like one of the strongest things it had. All right, same with the Enterprise and the Graf Zeppelin. That's fighters were pretty much what made it unique, and you're taking those away. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm pretty sure like people have already said, well, hey, are we going to get a refund for this? Because this looks absolutely terrible for us. We'll have to wait and see on that. Personally, I wouldn't refund it. I'm sure they're going to do something to address it. Wargaming wants people to buy their products, not be sitting with buyer's remorse once they've like completely nerfed and changed everything about it. So I don't think that it's going to be a situation where they're going to go without some sort of fix. At least I hope so. I know a lot of people who have the Saipan and the Graf Zeppelin, they're going to be really, really sad if they fuck those over. So yeah, there's that. Well, anyway, guys, that's all I have to say, except for this one little thing. The developers are really wanting the community's involvement in this balancing process, all right? So if you've got some comments, you see something that's kind of disturbing to you, whatever, put something up in the forums, put something up on Reddit, make a video, talk about it. Just get your voice out there. Let them know what you think. Help in the process. Be active in it. And when it comes to testing this, be active in the test servers, all right? That's one of the only ways they're going to get this right. CVs have been pretty much shite for way too long, all right? So let's make sure that we do it right this time. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say. Till next time, Shiv saying stay safe, have fun, may orange juice bless you. I'm out of here.